Hello, I'm Dr. Larry Carnes, and welcome to Spotlight TV. We're so glad that you could join us for another exciting broadcast. And we're honored to have with us our very special guest today. Elizabeth, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
Great, great. We're honored to have you as our guest today. Do this for us. Introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about who Elizabeth is.
Well, I have been working throughout my career in the field of social research, but since I've retired, I've been writing novels, and that's it.
So you're writing novels. That's interesting. I find here in Place of Strife. That's a very interesting subject. What led you to title your book In Place of Strife, and talk to us, share with our audience a little bit about that?
Well, the book is about a council in England at the time of the changes in equal opportunities and affirmative action and identity politics, all that was coming in. And the story is based on 5 colleagues who were working in what was called the Corporate Support Unit, which was a management information and a management strategy unit. And 2 of them were there on affirmative action programs. One was a boy called Len, a young man called Len, who he'd come from a criminal environment, and he was given a short course in business studies and then put in this unit. I mean, he felt very insecure in his role because he hadn't had a lot of training in it, especially compared to the other boy there, Simon, who was a graduate in economics and accountancy. But in the end, actually, Len came out tops because Len knew the local community very well and he knew how to implement change. The other one who was there on the affirmative action program was a very fat woman, and everywhere she tried to go tried to get a job, she'd been told she was too fat and they didn't want her there. So they took her on in corporate support, and she did very well there and got promoted. The other big policy thrust at that time in the council was anti-homophobia, and they appointed 2 men who were high-ranking men in the authority who were homosexuals. One was the chief executive, who suffered a lot from bullying by the public, and his flat was trashed, and in the end he had to go. The other one was a housing manager, and he was murdered. And because of this murder and all kinds of other things that were happening at that time in the council, like young girls were being taken from council flats and put in the so-called brothels, and one of the young councillors organised county lines, that means drug smuggling things. And it was all, the atmosphere was very tense and people were very frightened. And so they turned to the National Front Party, which said it was the law and order, the right-wing party which could impose law and order. So at the time of the election, some of the National Front got a large number of votes but didn't take the council. So, I mean, it was a hung council, and so a bureaucrat from London came in and took over. And the Corporate Support Unit were then sent around the environment, trying to devise strategies to calm the people in this community and to reduce the fear and try and get some kind of coming together. But it isn't only about politics. The Corporate Support Unit stuff also had love affairs and other lighter parts of their lives too, which I wrote about.
Yeah, I see. You know, it was quite intriguing as I was researching and looking at the book. You talk about how these people have so many insecurities. They have sexual insecurities, the personal insecurities that you've been making us aware of. And then you talk about how the book talks about how they are drawn into these issues and they have to solve these issues. drug running. I thought, wow, that's fascinating when I saw that about the drug running and the housing department and all of the different things that involve. So what was the catalyst that would lead you to write this fascinating book with so many different things that people were dealing with? I know you talked about affirmative action and you know, things that were being provided there. I mean, there's two things in there. You talk about Lynn and Arlene and how they seem to be very close. They got connected and they did several things together. So what caused that connection between Lynn and Arlene to take place?
Well, Arlene was basically quite a normal sort of woman. She was just too fat. But Len in the end, I mean, they were both from ordinary backgrounds. I think that is what made them click. They were both from the same kind of background. And they were both basically reasonably balanced people. It was just other factors that had made them so warped.
So the challenges, if I understand you correctly, would it be that the challenges that they faced in life, people discriminating against them for different reasons, was something that sort of caused them to bond together and be supportive of each other?
Yes, it's true. And also because they were doing the same work. I mean, as you probably know yourself, when you're working closely with colleagues, you do bond with them, don't you?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And then
if she'd stayed on her own in her own bedroom typing, I mean, she'd have had no colleagues.
Yes. So it was really, even coming into this work environment, would it be safe to say that it was like a healing and a therapy for both Lynn and her?
Yes, it was. With a lot of difficulties, you know, not being well qualified and having feelings of stigma about yourself, with a lot of difficulties. But it was a healing environment rather than staying at home. Yes.
Yes. Wow. Getting outside and having to face those challenges, but the book talks about how they were very successful. You spoke during your introduction of how, although they may not have been educationally qualified, especially Lynn coming from that background, but he rose in the corporate setting because of his character, his demeanor, and the way that he was able to connect with people. That's fascinating.
I think that is important in the public services. I mean, I've been in the public services all my life, and I think it is very important because you can write a management strategy, but it doesn't connect with the people out there, does it? I mean,
No.
if you have some connection there too, of course, it does help.
Very important. So the ability to connect, to interact with people and understand where people are coming from. The value of communication is so very important. And as you say here, Lynn, that's one of the qualities that Lynn had, the ability to connect with people where they were.
Yes. Whereas I mean, somebody from a university, very high academic from a university who'd been to Oxford and Cambridge as it is in England might have no connection with them.
Wow, that's interesting. Now the drug running, I found that fascinating. I say, wow, there are so many things going on here. The drug running, just fascinating. And when you write, chapter 1 talks about fat chance, and I know that's dealing particularly with Arlene. I found that very interesting to look at that fat chance. So like she had a fat chance of being successful. Is that where that came from?
Yeah, I mean, yes, and also it's double play on the word. Also, of course, she was fat and she wanted a chance. But I mean, this is it. I mean,
yes. So yeah, getting that chance to actually speaking about her true obesity, and because of that, her chances, she not having a level playing field like others had. So yeah, a fat chance that she would be successful. That's really powerful. What would be some lessons learned for the readers? Lessons learned from the book for some readers and maybe people who may have occasion to face some of the same struggles, some of the same challenges? What would be some lessons that they could learn from this fascinating book?
Well, there's a lot of difficulties for people. I think that's one thing. You can't just breeze into a setup, say as a somewhat stigmatized person, just breeze in. I mean, there are going to be a lot of difficulties and a lot of challenges, but they're not challenges that can't be overcome. And like in a lot of things in life, you learn from the difficulties more than you learn from other things like book learning. I mean, very well.
That's a powerful statement that you just made. You know, I oftentimes when I'm speaking to people, I say, you know, I want you to refocus on what we categorize as being failures. Failures are stepping stones to success, because no
Yes.
one's been successful without failing in the process.
Yes, especially young people should realize that, because sometimes young people feel very much they've been put back by something like not passing an exam or something. But I mean, it can be a stepping stone to something better. Yes. Yes.
Yes, learn from our, you know, I like to look, Elizabeth, I like to say that our failures are opportunities to do it again.
Yes.
Let's see the lessons learned from our failures, and then those things become our stepping stones to success. So
Yes.
many times, if we recategorize it, we can say that failures will be the catalyst that will catapult us to being successful.
Yes. But we don't want to make too many difficulties for people, though, do we? You know, I
Correct.
mean, you don't want to make life too hard. A certain level of problems can help you, but if it's all problems like some people have got, you know, I mean, that's terrible.
Powerful, yes. Problems can help us, but we don't want to have a lifestyle of problems. Listen, take the time, if you will, share with our viewing audience how they can, any contact information, if you have a website, email information, if they want to get in touch with you, and how they can get a hold of this magnificent book that you've written. Take about 60 seconds to do that.
I thought, well, the book is being sold on Amazon, and it's being sold through great writers. I'm sorry I haven't brought their coordination, because I thought they would give you that themselves. And if they want to go through me, it's Elizabeth Reinach at SHAWCR.com.
Okay.
It's .com, yes.
Okay, just the information. Sit back a little bit. Yeah, so just the information so that people, if you know, if they wanted to correspond, that they can do that. But yes, we want to let our viewing audience know that the book is available there on Amazon. It's an exciting read. I mean, it's just it's fascinating because it shares with us how those problems can be overcome, and we can turn problems into victories. You did an excellent job of conveying that to our audience. And so we want to thank you, Elizabeth, for coming along and being our guest. And we so much appreciate it. Thank you so very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Very nice. Okay, we finished now.
Okay. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being a part with us today here on Spotlight TV. And stand by, we'll be right back.